History is full of secrets, events that don't add up, artifacts that shouldn't exist, and civilizations that vanish without explanation. For centuries, scholars and explorers have tried to piece together these puzzles, but the truth remains hidden. In this video, we're going to uncover some of the biggest unsolved mysteries of the past and ask the question, what if history as we know it? I send T the full story. Welcome back to our journey through time, where today we dive into the shadows of the past, the mysteries that continue to baffle historians, scientists, and curious minds around the world. From lost cities swallowed by time to strange artifacts that shouldn't exist, and historical events that remain unexplained, we're about to explore the unanswered questions that make history so fascinating. Throughout history, civilizations have risen with unimaginable power, wealth, and influence, only to vanish suddenly, leaving behind fragments of their greatness. One of the most captivating mysteries that continues to fascinate historians is the story of lost civilizations and vanished cities, places that once thrived with human life, knowledge, and culture, but disappeared almost overnight with no clear explanation. These stories not only challenge our understanding of the past, they also raise questions about the fragility of human progress and the secrets still buried beneath the earth. Perhaps the most famous of these mysteries is the legend of Atlantis. First described by the ancient Greek philosopher Plato, Atlantis was said to be a magnificent island civilization, advanced in technology, rich in resources, and powerful in its influence. According to the tale, it disappeared in a single day and night, swallowed by the sea after falling out of favor with the gods. Scholars have debated for centuries whether Atlantis was a real place or simply a moral story invented by Plato, but the allure of a highly advanced civilization lost to the waves has captivated explorers and dreamers alike. Expeditions have searched the ocean floors, from the Mediterranean to the Atlantic, hoping to find ruins that might reveal the truth. Yet, all we are left with is a haunting possibility that humanity may have once achieved a level of advancement far earlier than we believed, and then lost it in a cataclysm beyond comprehension. But Atlantis is not the only civilization to vanish mysteriously. The Indus Valley civilization, one of the world's earliest urban societies, thrived thousands of years ago in what is now Pakistan and northwest India. This culture was remarkably advanced for its time, boasting intricate city planning, advanced drainage systems, and thriving trade networks. Yet around 1900 BCE, this vast civilization collapsed and its bustling cities were abandoned. What caused such a flourishing society to fall into silence? Some argue that a drastic shift in climate dried up the rivers that sustained their agriculture. Others suggest invasions, disease, or internal decline. The truth remains uncertain. When we walk among the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro or Harappa today, we see empty streets that once pulsed with life, markets that once traded goods from distant lands, and the remnants of a civilization whose fate still puzzles modern researchers. Then there is the story of the Maya civilization in Central America. Known for their achievements in astronomy, mathematics, and architecture, the Maya built towering pyramids, developed a complex calendar system, and created cities that thrived deep in the jungles of Mesoamerica. For centuries, their culture dominated the region. But by the 9th century, many of their great cities were suddenly abandoned. The once vibrant heart of Maya civilization fell silent. Why would such an advanced society, capable of charting the stars and constructing monumental cities, abandon their achievements? Some theories point to severe droughts that crippled their food supply. Others blame political turmoil, war, or social upheaval. Yet no single explanation fully accounts for the scale and suddenness of their decline. What we do know is that when the Spanish arrived centuries later, they encountered scattered descendants of a civilization that had once been one of the most powerful in the world. Another mystery lies beneath the sands of the Sahara Desert, where ancient cities once thrived along lush landscapes that are now arid wastelands. Places like the Garamantes Kingdom in what is now Libya flourished around 2,000 years ago, building vast underground irrigation systems that allowed agriculture to prosper in what we now see as barren desert. Yet their cities were abandoned and their people vanished. The desert swallowed their achievements, leaving little but ruins and unanswered questions. Was it climate change that ended their reign, or something more sudden and catastrophic? The same theme echoes in the story of Angkor, the magnificent capital of the Khmer Empire in Cambodia. Angkor Wat, the vast temple complex, stands today as a reminder of the city's grandeur. In its prime, Angkor was one of the largest and most advanced cities in the world, home to hundreds of thousands of people. Yet in the 15th century, it was mysteriously abandoned. Some historians suggest that shifts in water systems, vital for sustaining the city's agriculture, led to its downfall. Others propose war, famine, or disease. Whatever the reason, the city that once represented the pinnacle of Southeast Asian civilization became engulfed by jungle, its stone temples hidden from the world until rediscovered centuries later. What connects all these vanished civilizations is not only the mystery of their disappearance, but the reminder of how fragile human achievements can be. Great cities, advanced technologies, and thriving cultures can all vanish, leaving behind little more than ruins for future generations to question. Were these disappearances the result of natural disasters, human conflict, or something we have yet to uncover? The unanswered questions continue to spark debates, and the ruins of these lost civilizations remain silent witnesses to histories that may never be fully revealed. When we think of history, we imagine a steady progression of human knowledge, primitive tools, slowly evolving into modern technology. Ancient people gradually learning and advancing until they reach the level we recognize today. But every so often, discoveries surface that challenge this comfortable timeline. Buried beneath the soil, hidden in ruins, or preserved in forgotten texts are artifacts, and technologies that seem far too advanced for their time, forcing us to ask whether our understanding of the past is incomplete. These mysterious objects defy conventional explanations, leaving behind puzzles that neither historians nor scientists have been able to fully solve. One of the most intriguing examples is the Antikythera mechanism. Discovered in 1901 off the coast of a Greek island, this corroded bronze device lay among the wreckage of an ancient ship. At first glance, it appeared to be nothing more than a lump of rusted metal, but closer examination revealed something astonishing. It was a complex system of gears, crafted with incredible precision, capable of predicting astronomical positions and even eclipses. Essentially, it was an ancient analog computer, dating back to around 100 BCE for decades. Researchers struggled to understand how such a sophisticated piece of engineering could exist in a world where technology was thought to be relatively primitive. The level of craftsmanship suggested knowledge of mechanics and mathematics far beyond what we believed ancient Greeks possessed. Who created it? Was it part of a larger technological tradition now lost to history? Or was it a singular invention that disappeared when its creators vanished? Even today, the Antikythera mechanism raises more questions than answers, standing as proof that ancient people may have known far more than we often give them credit for. Equally baffling is the so-called Baghdad Battery. Unearthed near Baghdad and dating back to around 200 BCE, this clay jar contained a copper cylinder and an iron rod. To the naked eye, it might not seem like much. But when examined, it appeared to function like a simple galvanic cell primitive battery, capable of producing an electric current. This discovery has fueled endless debates. What possible use would ancient people have had for electricity? Some suggest it could have been used for electroplating metals, while others believe it was part of a ritual or spiritual practice. The problem is, we have no clear evidence of widespread electrical technology from that era. If the Baghdad Battery truly generated electricity, then it hints at knowledge that was never fully developed or was somehow lost. Then there is the Pira race map, drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral named Piri Reis on its surface. It looks like a beautifully crafted map of the known world. But closer study reveals anomalies that defy explanation. The map accurately depicts coastlines that were supposedly unknown to explorers of the time, including parts of South America, and even a surprisingly detailed rendering of Antarctica centuries before it was officially discovered. What's even more shocking is that the Antarctic coastline is shown without ice, something that matches modern geological surveys of what lies beneath its frozen surface. How could a map from the early 16th century contain knowledge that humanity supposedly only discovered in the 20th century? Piri Reis himself claimed his map was based on older charts and sources, some said to be from ancient civilizations long forgotten. If true, then it raises the unsettling possibility that advanced geographic knowledge once existed, only to vanish and resurface centuries later in fragments. Another enigmatic artifact is the dendrolite, a set of carvings found in the Temple of Hathor in Egypt. To many, these carvings resemble large, bulb-shaped objects, with figures holding them as if they were some kind of electrical device. Mainstream scholars dismiss this interpretation, suggesting the carvings are symbolic representations tied to Egyptian mythology. Yet the resemblance to modern electrical lamps is uncanny. Could it be that ancient Egyptians had knowledge of electricity that has since been lost? Or is this simply a case of modern imagination projecting meaning onto ancient symbols? The debate continues, fueled by those who believe the ancients may have harnessed technology we are only rediscovering today. And then there are the crystal skulls, most famously the Mitchell-Hedges skull, said to be carved from a single piece of clear quartz with such precision that even modern tools would struggle to replicate it. Legends claim these skulls hold mystical powers, while skeptics argue they are clever forgeries from more recent centuries. Still, the craftsmanship is extraordinary, and their origins remain shrouded in uncertainty. Were they ceremonial objects created by ancient cultures with a skill we underestimate? Or do they represent something entirely outside the conventional narrative of human history? What makes these artifacts so captivating is not just their mystery, but what they imply. If even one of these discoveries represents genuine advanced knowledge in ancient times, then it means human history is not a simple linear progression but a complex cycle where knowledge can be gained, lost, and perhaps rediscovered. These objects challenge the notion that we are the pinnacle of human achievement, reminding us that our ancestors may have been far more advanced than we imagine. They force us to confront gaps in our understanding and to question whether the history we accept as fact is really the whole story. History is filled with stories that seem almost complete, yet just when we think we understand them, unanswered questions remain enigmas that slip through the cracks of time and refuse to reveal their secrets. Among the most fascinating of these are unsolved historical events, mysterious disappearances, and cryptic structures that defy explanation. They leave us wondering not only about what happened, but also about what they tell us of human nature, human ambition, and the hidden forces that shaped our world. These stories remind us that history is not just a record of what we know, but also a puzzle of what we cannot yet explain. One of the most haunting mysteries is the disappearance of the Roanoke Colony in the late 1500s, known as the Lost Colony. This settlement was established by English settlers on Roanoke Island, off the coast of present-day North Carolina. When the governor, John White, returned to the colony after a supply trip to England, he found the settlement abandoned. Houses stood empty, personal belongings were left behind, and there was no sign of struggle or violence. The only clue was a single word carved into a tree. Croatoan. What did it mean? Had the colonists joined with a nearby Native American tribe? Had they been attacked or forced to flee? Or did they perish from disease and starvation in the unforgiving wilderness? Despite centuries of investigation, no definitive evidence has ever been found. The fate of the Roanoke settlers remains one of history's greatest unsolved disappearances, a story frozen in time with only a single carved word as its witness. Another enigma that continues to spark debate is the identity of Jack the Ripper. In the autumn of 1888, London's East End was gripped with fear as a series of gruesome murders shocked the city. Women were killed in brutal fashion, and the murderer seemed to vanish without a trace each time. Letters allegedly from the killer taunted police, and the press sensationalized every detail. But despite widespread panic and one of the largest manhunts of the era, Jack the Ripper was never caught. Over the years, countless suspects have been named, from doctors and aristocrats to artists and writers. Each theory seems compelling, yet none can be proven. The mystery of Jack the Ripper is not just about a series of unsolved crimes. It is about how one unknown figure became an enduring, Symbol of fear, a reminder of how even in an age of rapid modernization and progress, the shadows of the unknown could still haunt the streets. And then there is Stonehenge, one of the most iconic and puzzling monuments in the world. Rising from the fields of England, its massive stones have stood for thousands of years, their purpose still unclear. Was it an ancient observatory, aligned with the movements of the sun and stars? Was it a place of ritual and worship, where people gathered to connect with forces beyond themselves? Or was it something even more mysterious, a fusion of spiritual and scientific knowledge lost to time? The engineering required to move and position the massive stones suggests that the builders possessed remarkable skills. Yet no written records remain to tell us who they were or why they built it. Every year, new theories emerge, but the truth remains elusive. Stonehenge stands as a silent sentinel of the past, reminding us that human ambition and creativity often reach into realms we can scarcely understand. Unsolved mysteries are not confined to ancient times. Consider the story of the Mary Celeste, a merchant ship discovered drifting in the Atlantic Ocean in 1872. The ship was completely intact, its cargo untouched, and yet its crew had vanished without explanation. No signs of violence, no evidence of a storm, and no clear reason for the abandonment were ever found. The ship simply floated, empty, a ghost of the sea. Theories have ranged from piracy and mutiny to natural disasters and even supernatural intervention, but none have been proven. The Mary Celeste remains one of the greatest maritime mysteries, a real-life ghost story that continues to baffle experts. Another puzzle lies within the lines of the Voynich Manuscript, a book filled with strange illustrations, unknown plants, bizarre diagrams, and a text written in a language that no one has ever been able to decode. Carbon dating suggests it was created in the early 15th century, but its origins, purpose, and meaning remain locked away. For centuries, cryptographers, linguists, and codebreakers, including some of the brightest minds of modern intelligence agencies, have tried to crack its code, but without success. Some believe it to be an elaborate hoax, while others think it holds forgotten knowledge, perhaps even a key to lost sciences. Whatever its true nature, the Voynich Manuscript continues to frustrate and fascinate, a book that refuses to give up its secrets. What makes these mysteries so enduring is the way they leave us suspended between possibilities. They offer fragments of truth, hints of explanation, and traces of evidence, but never the complete picture. Each theory we construct only deepens our curiosity. They remind us that the past is not a closed book, but an unfinished story with chapters still hidden. They show us that history, as much as it seeks certainty, must also live with unanswered questions. And it is in those questions that we find some of its greatest fascination. As we journey through these mysteries of the past, one truth becomes clear: history is not a neat, orderly tale, but a vast puzzle filled with missing pieces. Lost civilizations remind us that even the greatest societies can vanish, leaving behind only ruins and questions. Strange artifacts and technologies challenge the idea that human progress has always been a straight line, suggesting knowledge may have risen and fallen long before our time. And the unsolved events, from vanished colonies to cryptic monuments, prove that not every chapter of our story is meant to be fully understood. Perhaps that is what makes these mysteries so powerful. They invite us to wonder, to question, and to imagine. They spark debates among scholars, inspire adventurers to search for hidden truths, and keep alive the possibility that the world still holds secrets waiting to be uncovered. The unexplained past is more than just a collection of riddles. It is a mirror reflecting our curiosity, our fears, and our relentless drive to seek answers. And maybe, just maybe, it reminds us that the story of humanity is far from finished, with mysteries yet to be revealed.